All right, the time has come. My favorite segments here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat, covering all the latest hot topics with what does it mean. First up, ESPN's latest article begs the question what each MLB team's chances would look like if they traded for Nationals 23-year-old stud Juan Soto. The article notes Soto to the Twins could catapult the Twins from could be to would be in regards to playoff contention. What would it mean for the Twins as far as fair compensation for Soto? And if it came down to it and, the Twins were actually involved in a blockbuster deal, would you rather have another big bat in the lineup or a starting pitching ace come July or August? What's your opinion on that?
I think you go pitching.
I think you have to.
Yeah,
I don't think we need another bat in the lineup, do we?
I don't know. Coming into this season, and we just talked about it in the first segment, like the bats were supposed to be like their bread and butter.
Right.
And so, you added Correa, and then now that almost seems like a luxury with how well Royce Lewis was playing before the injury. And you're just like, dang, like these dudes have some things going. You would hope that Miranda turns it around and continues to develop, as he grows in his career. And you got some of these guys, coming up from AAA, and then you got the bats that are currently in place, and you're just like, man, they're looking good. Yeah.
Good.
And I don't know that adding a Juan Soto is absolutely necessary. I mean,
is it fun?
Yeah. It would be fun, but when you talk about what you would probably have to give up to get a guy like that, I don't know that the risk outweighs the reward there, because it's just like, man, like you're probably talking about giving up some guys who are, difference makers right now and some prospects who are going to be difference makers in the future. And I don't know that you leverage the future on a guy like Soto. And then now you're also talking about probably, paying, most of your payroll to that guy, because he's going to command $200-300 $1 million in a contract. And so you're looking at that and you're like, shh. Like they just gave big money to Byron Buxton, and their idea of big money was $100 million, not $200 and $300 million. So it's just like, no, you much rather see them go all in on a starting caliber pitcher, which would also cost them a lot if they decided to swing a blockbuster trade for that. You're going to have to give up some good prospects and some good pieces for that as well. And so I think, you get Kenta Maeda back, and, you're going to get Chris Paddock back. I think you kind of stand pat with who you got and just allow the guys that are on the team already to continually develop. But I mean, Juan Soto would be fun or whatever. You know.
Of course. If we're playing MLB The Show right now, this ain't a video game though. I'm just saying, I'm not a baseball expert, Reggie, but I've watched enough baseball over the last 15, 20 years to know if you're going to make a big move towards the end and make a push for the playoffs, it's got to be for a stud pitcher. We know in all of sports, quarterback may be the most important position. Pitching is the second most important. And when you can go out and win game one of a playoff series with that stud pitcher, such a huge advantage. And you see it every year in the postseason. If they're going to make a big move, as much as Soto would be fun and exciting, and of course, sell tickets, I hope it's for a pitcher once that time comes. We'll see how all that shakes out once we get more of the thick of the summer and see where the Twins are at in the actual playoff standings and AL Central Division. Next one up, the NBA Finals matchup is officially set as the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics remain as the last two teams standings. With Golden State, the heavy favorites in Vegas, coming off a full week of rest, and the Celtics just grinding out a full 7-game series with the Heat. What does it mean for the Celtics' chances to upset the Warriors for the NBA championship? You think this one goes deep, 6-7 games? You giving the Celtics a chance here, or Warriors just cleanly look like the better team right now?
I mean, they're a professional basketball team who went through Brooklyn, who went through Giannis, who went through Jimmy. And I think you're like, wow, like this team is battle tested. Like they can hang with anyone. And I think that is what you think. And that is what you believe after watching them do what they do. That being said, like they've had some battles, man. And, I know they are relatively young, so they'll be able to, weather this. But, like, all of that kind of takes its toll on the team. And the Warriors have just kind of been sitting back like, man, we chilling. We feeling good. And what I think is interesting is how efficient Golden State is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you put that against what the Celtics have been, which was inefficient at times. There have been times where, they go into maybe the fourth quarter with the lead and you're just like, man, look, if the other team gets hot, they're going to steamroll them. And I don't think the Celtics are going to have an answer. And I think that's kind of been what you are looking at when it comes to this series. And so I think that Golden State is going to win this series. I think initially I was just like, oh, yeah, they're going to pack them up and send them home with Samsonite. Like, they're out of here, they're gone. But I think this probably will go at least 6 games because you have to give Boston the benefit. Like, Udoka has been coaching his tail off this whole playoffs. And I think he's going to get those guys in position to win at least a couple games in this series. But I think the Warriors are going to be a little bit too much for them. Like when you got, Steph and Clay and Poole hitting these shots, and then you got size and length, with the rebounding, with Looney, with Draymond Green and his defensive prowess. I think that's going to be very tough for Boston to overcome. And I think I give this series to Golden State.
On January 6th, the Celtics were in 11th place in the Eastern Conference at 18-21. I mean, this team is the most resilient team. You just mentioned all the teams they had to go through the road to the championship here. They were at their ultimate low there on January 6th. They've just grinded their way back. They're so resilient. And Warriors, clearly the better team top to bottom. But this is why you play the game. And I just think this one probably goes 6 or 7 games. The Celtics are 6-0 following a loss in the playoffs, and they're 3-0 in elimination games. So they get you down to the wire, and then they just hang on. They scratch and claw. Going to be a lot of fun. Thursday is game 1, 8 p.m. tip-off. I think that was on TNT.